Go in three, two, one.
What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the Vol Talk podcast. Took a day off. We didn't have a game this past Saturday, Austin. We had a bye week. It was nice. It was a much needed rest for us in particular. Don't care about the team.
Yeah, we were
Um,
we were working really hard on Vol
we were
Talk.
working really hard. As you all can see from this production quality, we work really hard, so we needed a week off. But yeah, so we skipped the Monday episode, y'all, but we're back here on Thursday with the preview of the upcoming game of our Vols taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks in
Yep,
Arkansas, in Fayetteville. So,
correct.
Austin, what are the headlines going into the game? Let's jump right into it, man.
Um, well, geez, we're going right into it. All right. No, I'm just joking.
Jumping right,
I'm
we're going
ready.
right into it.
Well, like you said, we're coming off our bye week. Arkansas is coming off a really hard loss to A&M in Cowboy Stadium. We could have had game day this week had Arkansas pulled it off against A&M. Likely would have had game day. We are once again on ESPN's primetime spot, 7:30, and once again they are there to watch Tennessee play. They are not there for Arkansas. They are there to watch Nico and Tennessee. And so that's exciting, although I think everyone's kind of getting sick of all the night games. I like night games, of course. Like night game, the environment is great.
Yeah,
That part of it's nice, but I also hate waiting all day to watch Tennessee play. Like I kind of
yeah.
wish, like, hey, play at noon, wake up, beat Arkansas's ass, then enjoy football the rest of the day. But not this time. We're prime time again, and then we got prime time Florida, prime time for Alabama. So it's all we do is play at night these days, apparently.
Well, so with Alabama, I saw something, and it could be wrong, that we were either going to be a 3 to 4 game, or like a 3 or 4 p.m. start, or a 6 to 8 start. Is that correct, or has it been confirmed that Alabama will be a night game as well?
It's possible that I think it's possible we're still 3 to 4 at this point. I
Okay.
would be shocked by it. Now, the reason I think it's possible is because Texas and Georgia is also that week. So
Mm,
if Alabama or Tennessee slips up like before that game, it's possible that we don't get the primetime slot. But I just don't see it like let's say we went out to the Alabama game and Alabama wins out, which I think they have like Vanderbilt and somebody else, so pretty likely. In that case, I don't see any scenario where they're not in
yeah.
Knoxville. I mean, it's undefeated Alabama and Tennessee, so. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, they want to see us play. They want to see this team play. And I kind of wish Arkansas would have held up their end of the bargain. Like Arkansas legitimately could be 5-0 at this point. I mean, I know
Yeah.
Arkansas fans probably realize that more than anyone. And that's
Hmm.
going to be kind of part of my analysis in the game. They kind of just give these games away, man.
Yeah.
They were frankly the better team in the A&M game and the Oklahoma State game, but they just found a way to lose. So, um, but yeah, I
And
mean, it would be
we're no strangers to finding a way to lose either. So
yeah,
we
exactly.
know how that feels.
Yeah, no question. Especially in past coaching staffs. But yeah, I mean, it would have been fascinating if they could have pulled those games off, 5-0 versus 4-0, like going into that game. That would honestly worry me way more, just because they would have
Yeah.
all that momentum. So I
Oh
mean,
man.
yeah,
And we're playing in Arkansas, right? We're playing in Fayetteville, so it's like a road game in the SEC is tough regardless, and so it would definitely be, it's still going to be a tough game. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder, again, it's a road game in the SEC. But yeah, man, like it would be, I'd be a lot more worried. They're a good team, right? Like, I'm still, not overlooking them, but yeah, that momentum would be crazy if they were if they were undefeated coming into this game for sure.
oh yeah, no question about it. I think they're kind of deflated at this point. Um, Now, I think, as far as overlooking them, as long as the team doesn't overlook them,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Because, they have, I mean, it's the SEC. It's an SEC road game. And I think that question about Heupel, like, on the road is kind of still looming for some people.
Hmm.
I mean, we're all, I think, I don't think there's there's 6 days out of the week I don't think about South Carolina 2022, frankly. So, I mean, it can happen any week, dude. Like, you have to bring your A game every single week. And that was, I mean, if you listen to Heupel's press conference, that's all he talked about. He, without saying it, he was like, yeah, we're a lot better than Arkansas, but it's the SEC, and the margins can be very thin. I mean, just look around. Look what just happened to Ole Miss. They lost at home to Kentucky. So it can happen to anyone at any given time, an upset. So you better bring your A game, especially when you're going to Fayetteville. And I mean, their fans. This is going based on social media, so maybe this is not like a good indication of the rest of the fan base. But this was a game for Arkansas that they were like, dude, if we can beat Tennessee, like that's a huge win for Sam Pittman. That's a game that they like really want to win. So I think even though they're 3-2, the fan base will show up. They're doing a little checkered, like Arkansas. I don't know what the hell they call theirs. Well, we came up with checkered kneeling, and then everybody else started doing it. So I don't know what they call it, but they're doing that for the game. So
they're doing. I think they're calling it a stripe out.
Stripe out. Interesting.
In fact, I've got an Army buddy. His name's Trevor. So shout out, Trevor. You my boy. T. Trevor, he was the first one that alerted. I learned it from him first. He sent me a little screenshot, where they had officially announced that they're doing the stripe out for the Tennessee game. So yeah, I mean, they've got a passionate fan base. They've got a great they've got a great history to their program. And so it's definitely, again, you can't. The team especially can't look past anyone. We're 2 touchdown favorites, right? I don't want to steal you. I know you're probably going to talk about the betting line. We're 2 touchdown favorites, which worries me a little bit because it could end up being closer than that. I do still think we're a better team. I think we're going to win, but honestly, to your point, about Arkansas, losing these close games to Oklahoma State and Texas A&M. It's possible that Arkansas might be, in reality, a better team maybe than even Oklahoma. I don't know if that's, true. That might be a bold statement, but it's in the realm of possibility, I think, that Arkansas could be actually, in truth, if they were to play to their potential, put it that way, that they could, potentially be better than Oklahoma. And so... it's we just it's definitely especially when you literally our 2 biggest rivals coming up, right? You've got Florida and Alabama, and so if you want to, everyone talks about trap games. What is a trap game? I mean, this could certainly, if you look at this, you could certainly label this a trap game for Tennessee, where it's like, okay, you're looking for ahead to your rivals. You're coming off a bye week. You're whatever. So.
I agree with that, dude. I mean, more than ever, players are looking at what they see online. Every player in that locker room knows we're number 4, knows we're ahead of Georgia, knows what the expectations are at this point in the season. They know what they know they're on prime time. They know these things. They're not. They follow these things, dude. They're on Twitter. They're on social platforms, so they know what the consensus around this program is right now. And as Nick Saban says, dude, that can be rat poison, and it's true. I mean, when you start to look ahead to those like big matchups, like you're pointing to, Florida and Alabama, which are huge matchups, you can 100% overlook an Arkansas and Fayetteville, who, to your point, dude, I don't disagree with you about saying they could potentially be better than Oklahoma. I think that's very possible. Unfortunately, I think what Arkansas is lacking is the depth, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, man, I mean, absolutely have to focus on Arkansas. You cannot look for Florida. Yeah. You cannot look to Alabama. Because this is a game that you can lose, 100%. This is a game that this team can lose. Now, the reason it's a 2-touchdown line in Fayetteville is because we're a lot better. I mean, there's no secret about that. Tennessee's a better football team. That's a fact. They have more talent. They have way more depth. They have better coaching. So, but that's happened in the past. And we've lost.
Exactly. Better football teams have lost games to teams that are worse than them. It's any given Saturday in college football, and so absolutely,
Exactly.
yeah, it's you gotta keep your eyes peeled.
And I think, because we were thinking about this the other day, and me and a group of my buddies were kind of just talking about like Heupel's road losses and kind of what it comes down to. I think is yeah, he has some good road wins, but he hasn't had a whole year where he's played a complete season on the road. So each year he's had a road loss that's kind of puzzling. And I think, I mean, out of everything we have left, this is the one circle. This could be that puzzling road loss if they don't come with their A game. So because I mean, if we lose to Georgia on the road, it's like okay, you lost to Georgia. They're a more talented football team, and we're not going to lose to Vanderbilt on the road. So yeah, Arkansas, and that's not shade to Vanderbilt. They're playing tough this year, but give me a break.
Great, Randy. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, moral victories all day long for Vanderbilt, but but yeah, dude. So I think that's the biggest headline for Tennessee going into the game, especially as a fan base. You have to be focused on the road. You have to be, and coming off a bye week. I mean, a lot of teams. Some teams play better after a bye week. Some teams look worse after a bye week.
Got lazy. They got complacent. They got lost focus, lost momentum.
Exactly. So I think overall, big picture, that's the thing I'm looking at. And as far as the game is concerned, what I'm looking at is specifically from Arkansas's perspective is that don't be surprised if this is a game going into the fourth quarter, but we pull away in the fourth quarter. If you just look at Arkansas's games, and if you look at specifically the Oklahoma State game and A&M game, dude, they were – so ESPN has this win probability chart they do. And if you look at their win probability chart for both of those games, it's Arkansas's 60, 70% chance to win, and then fourth quarter comes, and it dips, and it's just gone. There goes the lead. The other team wins, and boom, another blown lead. That's literally the case in the Oklahoma State game and the A&M game. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we go into that fourth quarter and we're like, oh my goodness, dude, like we're stressing out.
Sweating it out. Yeah.
Exactly, you're sweating it out. You're down by 3 or maybe up by 3, and then we kind of pull away in the fourth quarter because of the depth, dude. I think that's the biggest thing I'm looking at in this game is that it seems to me that Arkansas, one of the reasons, it could be coaching, but a lot of it's probably depth of the football team is the reason that they start whittling away in the fourth quarter. Specifically, in the A&M game, they were outgaining A&M by like 150 yards or something going into the fourth quarter, and then that changed. Like A&M outgained them big time in the fourth quarter, specifically running the ball. A&M outgained them 88 yards to 1 yard in the fourth quarter rushing the ball. So, I mean, that's like one of those things. It's like that tells me it's a lack of depth in the trenches, which is, really I think is our strength. So I think I wouldn't be shocked. Now, I don't want that. Dude, I hate sweating out ball games. I do not want to be worrying about Arkansas in the fourth quarter. But I could easily see this being like, oh my God, are we going to lose in Fayetteville? And then we end up winning by 2 touchdowns because Arkansas just doesn't have the depth in the fourth quarter to keep up.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, and you're absolutely right. That's how, especially in the SEC, but really in college football in general, you have to have that depth in the trenches. Now, I mean, you look at even Tennessee in the past, before Heupel, or even heck, even in the beginning of Heupel's era, we always seem to lack depth, and that's why we would gas out in the third and fourth quarter, right?
Exactly.
And so, and now we have that depth, and and that's really, like you said, absolutely the strength of the ball team. I do want to share, speaking of kind of these game headlines, so I think your analysis is pretty spot on. I told y'all, my Army buddy Trevor, he's a big Razorback fan. He actually went to the University of Arkansas. He was a walk-on quarterback at the University of Arkansas back in the day. And so back in the day, okay, Trevor and I are not that old. In fact, Trevor's younger than me, and I'm not that
is
old.
he?
So Yeah. So it's like how many ever years ago. But Yeah, so I asked him for a little insight, and he talked about, hey, Pittman is going to try to address their confidence problem with some kind of additional protection from rushing defenders, try to kind of protect his quarterback and kind of protect their offensive kind of ball game. And Trevor thinks that might kind of put Arkansas down early. And then they might actually turn on the gas later on in the game. Petrino might actually start letting it rip once they're down down in the game. And then he thinks best case scenario for them that there might be a good deal of offensive production that ends up making Arkansas look a little bit more competitive than they actually are. And so his analysis, I guess, is a little different. Maybe we jump out to an early lead and then they end up, getting the score a little closer than the game actually was, towards the end because of, and that's certainly possible. I mean, we saw that with Oklahoma, right? I mean, Oklahoma started letting it rip, to an
True.
extent, after we got out to that, three score lead. Well, really, I guess it was more like a 4-score lead at one point, and so, Oklahoma then kind of ended up making it a little closer on the scoreboard than it actually was, right? At the end of the day, I think you're right, though. No matter how you shake it, even if it's a matter of, like Trevor's saying, Arkansas kind of catching up late as a result of their kind of opening up the offense. I still think, like you said, the depth is just going to whether it's at the beginning of the game or at the end of the game, or whether Arkansas is playing from behind or taking it close into the fourth quarter, the depth is what we just see it time and time again. That's what separates these football teams, because Arkansas's got great players. Like they've got good talent. They don't maybe not have as much talent as we do, right? But they've got dudes who can play football, right? The problem is that you got to have a lot of dudes in the SEC that can rotate through that line.
Yeah.
So I think you hit the nail on the head.
So I agree with you. I think that is a possibility. I'm also looking at their quarterback, Taylor Green. I think he could be a difference in the game, because specifically in the past we've struggled with the running quarterback. And I mean, even in the Oklahoma game, a little bit, they get Hawkins in there, and he starts making some plays with his legs. And Taylor Green's really good with his legs, so he's been inconsistent. I think he's been pretty inconsistent. He's looked really good in some games, but if you look at his SEC play, specifically from a PFF perspective, he has not graded well in SEC games. He has not played well in those games compared to non-SEC opponents, which is kind of telling. I mean, and they played Auburn and A&M, and no disrespect, but I mean they're not Tennessee's caliber this season. So, but I mean, yeah, I think if he can make plays with his leg and produce big plays, that's one thing that this defense hasn't given up yet, man. Tennessee's defense has not given up big plays all season long. So if they can gash us for big runs with the quarterback, Taylor Green, he can scramble it and get chunk plays like that, 10, 20-yard runs. And if they can create big plays in the pass game, then I think it could be a little closer than we expect. Now, I also think we're kind of talking through this, so I'll decide what my prediction is at the end, like what I actually think is going to happen. But I think it's a real possibility that Taylor Green makes mistakes. I mean, that's been pretty much Arkansas's biggest problem. If you look in the A&M game, they still outgained them a decent bit, even though they started letting up in the fourth quarter. But they turned the ball over 3 times, and you can't turn the ball over against this team. You saw it in the Oklahoma game, man. It just killed Oklahoma. So if you turn the ball over against Tennessee, they're going to make you pay. So I could see Taylor Green making some mistakes. And from an offensive perspective, don't be surprised if we just run the ball all game. Now, if it's close in the fourth quarter, then maybe we get to answer that question about Nico. Can Nico make plays in the fourth quarter when we need him to make plays? That's something that's kind of been a theme. If you go look at the quarter season review, that's been a theme that we've been talking about. It's like in those Alabama and Georgia games when we're going to need Nico to be the reason we win in the fourth quarter, can he do that? Maybe that question gets answered against Arkansas in the fourth quarter. But what I'm kind of leaning towards is that it's yet another road game where Tennessee is outmatching the opponent. They're way better talent wise. They're better in the trenches, so that I think we're probably going to be able to run the ball a lot better on Arkansas than we did in Oklahoma. And if that's the case, and I don't see an opportunity for Arkansas to win that game. I mean, I just don't. And I think that's probably what it'll come down to. You'll probably see us start to pop off 5 to 7 yards per carry, and that's just. I mean, we couldn't get that against Oklahoma, and we blew them out essentially. So I mean, I think that's probably bulk. Like if you see us in the first quarter and we're popping off 5 to 10 yard runs, it's probably a wrap. Is what I'm trying to say.
It's very rare in the SEC that a team outgains its opponent on the ground and loses.
Yeah.
That's very rare in the SEC. In general, that hey, like if you can outrush your opponent, then by a decent margin, then you're looking good in the game, and that speaks to the trenches. Like you were talking about earlier, right? I mean, who can control the trenches? And so, yeah, I like your system. What do we want to see from us, right? So we've talked a little bit about Arkansas. We've talked about kind of headlines for the game. What we might think, how the game flow will go. What are we looking to see from our offense and defense?
So, I mean, offensively, I think I wouldn't mind to see Heupel protect Nico in this game. Like, if we come out just like in the Oklahoma game, and it's clear very early on that we have the better football team, then I understand why show more of the offense, why put Nico in dangerous situations, and specifically don't get Arkansas into the game by giving them the ball. I mean, I would love to see Nico go out there, throw for 5 touchdowns, have a Heisman moment, like do all that. But at the end of the day, what we want is we want to win. Because next week, we get Florida. And I'm going to have a lot of fun on this podcast talking about Florida, especially when we beat their ass. So, I want us to enjoy that week. And we're not going to enjoy that week unless we beat Arkansas. So, frankly, go out there, run it down their throat, and play good defense, dude. I mean, it's old school football this season for this team, and that's what's won this season. So why not win with it more? I mean, you're going to have the trench advantage. Don't turn the ball over. Don't put Nico in harm's way. Run the ball. Get out of there with a victory. I kind of see the game playing out that way. Now, if Nico needs to make plays in the fourth quarter, you're going to have to let him. At some point this season, he's going to have to do that. So if that's this game, you're going to have to let him do it. You're going to have to let him rip it. You're going to have to get less conservative. And I mean, Heupel knows that. I mean, it's clear what happened in the Oklahoma game. You were the better team, so you got conservative in the fourth quarter. It makes sense. And I could see that happening again in this game. But as far as like what we need to do to win, just be us. That's it. Just be us. What we've been all year.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right, about Nico. Eventually, I mean, come October 19th, when another red team comes to town, it's almost guaranteed that we're going to need him to step up, whether it's in the fourth quarter or not. We're not going to be able to rely entirely on the ground game, right? And so yeah, I mean, it's happening sooner rather than later. I almost would rather it happen prior to the Alabama game, almost. Not that I want to be sweating out Arkansas,
Yeah, I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so, but yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right, with the offense. And honestly, I guess, now that you say it, you kind of convinced me. I'm like, you know what, you're right. If we can win on the ground and not risk any injury to Nico, and honestly, injury in general, especially on our O-line, our O-line needs to stay healthy, and so, and then defensively, are we going to be able to capitalize when those mistakes, if those mistakes do come. And like you said, I think, man, it's going to be so critical. Because we've struggled, like you said, against running quarterbacks. Can the defense looks massively improved, right? So prove it. Go out there and prove it. Show that you're an elite defense, like people are saying that you potentially are. That you're an elite defense. Defenses, they might give up a player or two here and there, but elite defenses can stop. Can stop running quarterbacks. And I'll tell you this too. Again, speaking of another red team, they've got a quarterback who is going to be a problem if we can't stop a quarterback.
I think key player in this game is going to be Keenan Pili, man. You have to get the QB spy, and he is the perfect guy to do it. We haven't had an athletic linebacker like that since, Gerard Mayo, maybe. I mean, the dude can play, so let him play, dude. I mean, let him be the guy to stop. I mean, that's going to be a key matchup to watch. Can we stop that running quarterback? Can we stop Taylor Green in the run game? Well, with a guy like Keenan Pili, I would think we can if we have a good game plan, and, I'm not the game plan guy. That's Tim Banks' job, so he probably knows. Like, let's be honest. He probably knows. Like, if I can identify it, he can probably identify it. He's about to get a head coaching job, so.
Hey, if he can't, and you did, and you're the one savant who did, then you might be getting some job offers here soon.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Probably not, but I have heard rumors that we've got a couple fans out there. I mean, the pod is growing rapidly. I mean,
I wouldn't say rapidly, but it's.
I mean,
it's okay.
Pretty good.
It's going all right. It's going all right. We'll see.
All I'm saying is there may or may not be rumors that we got some folks on the coaching staff who are big fans of the pod. So
what? What are you talking about?
Am I completely making this up? Probably.
Yes,
to try to generate views.
100%. He's making this up.
Are we potentially going to turn this into a short again in order to generate views and kind of generate some clickbait? Maybe, but
if Blake cuts it out of the podcast, yes.
You listen. You can't I'm sitting here, and even if I'm the one starting the rumor, you can't deny that a rumor exists because I have now created it. So the rumor exists,
and no one can deny it. I mean, nobody knows for sure. Exactly. Like Josh Heupel could listen to this podcast. They don't know that for sure that he doesn't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying, bro. So anyway, that's possibly out there, and so all I'm saying is you might have helped out the team just now. Might have given some valuable insight to the coaching staff. But yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
All right, so let's get into it's we're doing the virtual thing again today. We've with our podcast, we're going to try to be in person, but we're going virtual today. So we appreciate y'all kind of sticking around. If you're listening to this point, we appreciate that. Hit us with a like, hit us with a subscribe, give us a comment. We'd love that. Let us
shout out to the boys who've been listening all the way through. I appreciate that. Y'all don't have to do that, but I do appreciate it. If you are listening, it's so. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we might have to start giving some shout outs to our boys who are really ride or die right now. We appreciate y'all supporting the pod. So, but yeah. So with that being said, let's kind of. Is there any other kind of big before we get into our score predictions? Any other kind of big things that we might need to be thinking about or talking about for the Arkansas game?
No, man. I think we kind of touched on everything. Basically, kind of a synopsis. I think. Watch out, Tennessee fans. It could be close going in the fourth quarter, but I think our depth will prevail. I think Taylor Green will probably make some plays with his legs, but Keenan Pili could be a huge part of stopping that. Let's see if we can just dominate the trenches again. Let's see how we look in the run game. Let's see if we can just run all over Arkansas, play good defense, and get out of there with a win.
I like it. I'm on board with that. I like that prediction too about Keenan Pili, potentially being a big factor in this game and potentially having, kind of that MVP style performance in this game. So we'd love to see that. So with that being said, we'll move into our score predictions. So we're let's see here, 13.5-point favorites right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Too low.
You think it's too low?
Too low.
Dang. That's your official prediction? You can go.
I'm coming up with it in my head. I'll let you
Okay,
go
you're gonna
first.
formulate. I'm going first. You kind of formulate in your head. Honestly, bro, I usually just base mine off yours. I kind of just say something slightly different than yours because you're usually pretty right.
Unbelievable,
You're
dude. You
pretty.
just copying my score prediction. Is that what you just admitted?
No, I didn't say I'm copying it. I'm saying I'm taking it and then just slightly altering it so it doesn't look like I'm copying it.
Wow. That's plagiarism,
Um,
brother.
no, it's different. I mean, dude, listen. I mean, you think you think these people writing these papers these days, you think they're having original thoughts? Everything's passed down nowadays,
Chat.
bro.
No, it's Chat
Yeah,
GBT, brother.
and yeah, it's AI. Come on now. All right, listen, I do have to get. So here's my deal. Before I give my score prediction, shout out to my base Vols. Okay, the baseball Vols wearing my Natty Daddy hat.
We
Vols.
haven't forgotten, brother. We
That's
haven't
right.
forgotten. We still champions now.
Wearing my baseball shirt and the Natty Daddy hat. Now, there's a nice connection here. The reason I bring this up, you probably already
Oh,
know,
I do know.
is all I'm saying is Arkansas has a special place in my heart because we had a destiny moment against Arkansas back in a little year that it may or may not feel like in 2024. It might be, the calendar might say it's 2024, but brother, you know, I'm feeling a little 98-ish, okay? And in 1998, our Tennessee Vols played the Arkansas Razorbacks and had the infamous, glorious, he stumbled and he fumbled. God was on our side. God is a Tennessee Volunteer, okay? We're destined to win that game, and we went on to win the national championship. So I'm kind of wearing it a little bit out of good luck,
I
going
had
into the Arkansas game.
no idea that's where you were going with that. I should have
Really?
known that, but I thought you were talking about Tony Vitello's connection to Arkansas because he came from Arkansas before, or he was at Arkansas coaching before he came here. But that also
Yes.
happened.
Well, yes, that too. Yes, that
Yeah,
too.
but you weren't going there. You were going. The
No,
connection was natty, and you were bringing up national
Natty. That's right.
championships.
National
I
championship.
didn't realize that. Not planned, but yes,
And
stumbled and fumbled.
that's funny too, because yeah, we literally didn't plan this, and you're wearing
No.
your baseball
No,
Vols
I gotta rock
gear
the
too.
Vol gear after getting dragged for wearing an Eric Berry jersey at one time because apparently
Oh, dude.
people don't know Tennessee greats. It's fine. It's no big
Another-
deal.
Dude,
I'm gonna support Eric Berry no matter where he's playing, but some people they don't follow apparently. But it's all
man,
good.
I don't know. I don't know if that. You're probably right. He's
I'm
probably
just
ragging
joking,
on you
man.
for.
It
He's,
doesn't
pro-
matter.
he's probably ragging on you for the Chiefs, but wearing Chiefs jersey. But yeah, you can't hate on the great Eric Berry.
No,
Um,
of course not.
you can't do that. All right, so national champion. All I'm saying is we got to beat Arkansas to stay undefeated, and then to go on and win the national championship. That's
Also,
all I'm saying.
we
So
have not won in Fayetteville in 23 years.
really,
Yep, 23
no kidding.
years since we've won in Fayetteville.
Well, if it's 23 years ago, that makes it 2001, which I'll tell you who that quarterback was then, that one in Fayetteville.
Casey
Casey
Clausen,
Claus.
Blake's favorite player. No, hardly anyone watched the season review, but the few people that did had good feedback on the Casey Clausen Award. They liked it.
No way.
So
Oh, yeah?
yeah. A buddy of mine had good feedback on that. So
Good, good. All right, so all I'm saying is I'm rubbing it for a little bit of good luck, okay, for national championship going against Arkansas. We had our destiny moment against Arkansas. Will history repeat itself? We shall see.
we
My
shall
prediction is
see.
we shall
Oh,
see. I think so if I'm not mistaken, Austin, correct me if I'm wrong, Tennessee so far has covered the spread on every game we've
that
played so far
is
this season.
that is correct.
That's correct. My prediction is I don't think we're going to cover the spread in this game. I think it's a
Oh
night
man.
game against Arkansas. I think Arkansas is going to be hyped up. I think their fan base is going to be hyped up. I think that Tennessee is going to come out a little flat because of our bye week. A little complacent. Going to have to shake off, a little bit of the, kind of lazy juices, right? I think you are probably correct in your prediction that it's going to be a little close. It's going to be closer than we like going into the fourth quarter. I think we're going to only be up by a score or 3 points, like you said, going into the fourth quarter. And I think ultimately we end up winning by I'm going to say in the moment, somewhere probably about 9 points. I think we'll end up winning by, and we'll barely well, not barely, but we'll squeak ahead in the fourth quarter. And we'll not cover the spread. So my final score prediction, I'm going to say it will be 31 to what is that? 23. 31
Okay.
23.
Okay. And I said that could happen. I didn't say that was gonna happen. What's really gonna happen is we're gonna run all over them, dude. We need a
Really?
dominant victory. I don't want a 10-point victory. I don't want a 14-point victory. I
Oh,
want
of
a
course not.
30-plus point victory. I'm going 42-10. Tennessee rolls.
42 to 10.
Oh,
Tennessee
dude, the
rolls, man.
stadium's gonna be cleared out by halftime.
So
They're gonna be gone.
the stripe, it's gonna be like that those zebras where the stripes disappear, right? So they're striping out for this game. The stripes are just gonna disappear.
It's gonna be
It's just
gone.
gonna be blank.
And yet another team's fight song will be Rocky Top
Like
by
it's
the end of the game.
Dude, I'll tell you this. I was, watching plane tickets out to Fayetteville from Knoxville, and they skyrocketed. So I do think Vol fans are going to show up in
Oh, they're gonna
Fayetteville.
show up.
And
Dude,
I
it's
tell you
cheaper
what,
to
though,
go to road games these days, dude. Go look at Tennessee ticket prices, bro.
oh, I
It's
know.
cheaper to buy tickets to Arkansas and get a plane ticket.
I don't even want to think about that, man, because it'd be cool to go to the Alabama game, but I'm sure it would cost the rest of my future to go to Alabama game, $30,000 loan or something. Honestly, though, bro, that was a plot twist, bro. I thought you'd think it was closer the way you were talking going into the quarter, talking be close. So that was a plot twist, bro. It hit us with the 42-10,
42 to 10.
blowing out the
Dominating
spread.
victory.
Okay, I like that. I like your prediction better than I like mine. Again, call it BVS, but I think we're gonna come out a little slower, but we're still gonna pull out that win by 8 points. So, but there you have it, y'all. Austin 42-10. I'm 31-23. Either way, Vols roll, baby. We're on the big orange hype train. All right, so again, rubbing the hat for good luck. Stay undefeated, and let's just get in the playoffs, man. And let's see if we can make a splash in the playoffs. So let's take care of business in Arkansas. Thank y'all for joining again, virtual for this episode, but we're going to try to stay in person as much as possible. Join us again, regularly scheduled programming Mondays at 10 a.m. and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Okay, we missed this past Monday because we were on a bye week, but we'll have the Arkansas review coming Monday at 10. So please subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss that episode, and we'll look forward to seeing y'all in that episode. That's all we got, y'all. Appreciate y'all. See
All
ya.
right. GBO.